Hello, everybody. Welcome to Walking My Wheels, podcast that talks about anything and has absolutely no structure. Just me rolling through life with some freaking awesome friends, tell you that much. Let's get it going on, guys.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, sir.
I just clipped the mic.
Yeah,
God, I was loud.
To my
that was
right,
ridiculous.
we have my service bear, the man, the myth, the beard. Yeah, that's beard rubbing right there. What's
Yeah.
up, Grizz?
Hey, guys.
Doing all right?
Man, I am doing fantastic.
I see where you're going with this. And to my left, we got Mr. Bernstein himself. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty fantastic, interwebs.
That's awesome.
How are you doing?
Pretty,
Sexy beast.
pretty spectacular. And, you know, you got to ask yourself, where do you find these people?
You mean these fantastic
Beasts, and where to find them.
Exactly.
So we all went to a movie today,
This week.
This week, and watched Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Now, before we even get rolling into this, if y'all haven't seen this movie, turn it off. Skip this, go to the next podcast. Either just save it and watch it after you've seen it, because we're going to just kind of do a little review on it and talk about opinions and how we felt about the movie. But first, we're going to talk about some other movies and kind of like what we like, what we don't like. Probably dabble in the Harry Potter a little bit. If y'all haven't seen that, then we'll let you know before we go into spoiler land. All right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you want to start? Do you want to just what's your favorite Harry Potter flick? Which one?
Oh, man.
Did you want to do that? Because there's 75, 80 of those.
There's 8 of them.
There's 8. Well, it's 7.
7.
There's 2 parts.
8 movies.
8 movies. Yes.
Yeah, 8 movies regarding the Harry Potter saga.
Yes.
Right.
Story.
Yeah. So I will admit up front that I'm not the fan that reads the books. I tried to a while ago, and I started with the first one, and to be honest, I felt it was a little juvenile, so I kind of stopped reading it. And I get it, and I get as the story continues to each book, it grows with the children. But I just stopped it. Now I do have Audible, and I'll probably just download them. And
Please
listen
do
to them
so,
that way.
because
Everybody says the books are better.
the Harry Potter books,
Yeah.
Jim Dale, who actually does the voice book, it's amazing. He won an award for over 250 distinct voices within the Harry Potter world.
Oh, really? So
the books.
So he brings it to life then.
It's legit. And if you know who, if you've seen the movies, your mind can go right to put things together.
Yes.
Speaking of the books, my favorite book is my least favorite movie.
Okay.
So my favorite Harry Potter book is Order of the Phoenix, and they left so much out of the movie. It's ridiculous. Like the whole giant scene, where my mind went blank. Hagrid goes and to try to sway them to be part of Dumbledore's army.
Yes.
That really wasn't even in the. There was just so much, and so that's my least favorite movie. Favorite movie. Favorite movie for me would be Prisoner of Azkaban.
That is my favorite movie as well.
Yeah, just because it is even though it's not the darkest one. You had the same director did the first 2, Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, and those were good. Like you said, those are juvenile, those are put together well. But the third one, the vision that director had, really nailed on the spot, on the nose regarding the whole feel of how the Harry Potter story is. It's the prelude, the really, really good prelude to the dark nature of the story. It was great, I thought.
Right on. And also your favorite?
Yeah, it is. That's also my favorite movie. I think that the series in general, and it does, kind of start out very juvenile. I'll have to admit that.
The book, though, go ahead.
Well, no, the whole entire story, it grows, and it just gets darker and darker as you get older, and you get more and more adult themes.
Yes.
And it's well done, and anybody who knows me knows that, Harry Potter is really not like my main thing, but, it was my wife's thing. I've seen some of the movies before and saw them with her because we own all of them, and I was just like, wow, this gets way darker, and it was like, I had a new appreciation for it, so I was really excited, kind of going and see what, do with the universe.
Well, we used to go to all the midnight premieres. Now the premieres you can go at 6 o'clock the night before. So
makes life so much easier.
It really does. But there was something great and magical about a midnight showing. The anticipation, having to wait, being so tired the next day at work if you didn't take the day off.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just something great about that. And I remember going to see Goblet of Fire, and it was the midnight show. And I think that was the last midnight show that I went to was the Goblet of Fire, because everything else kind of went crazy after that regarding time frames and all that.
Yes.
But when they're in the graveyard and Voldemort comes back, and there's this where the music just kind of abruptly stops and it's just silence. You couldn't hear people breathe.
Yeah.
In the theater.
Yeah, it's one thing I did do with the Harry Potter movies is made sure I did see them all in the theater. I really didn't know anything about Harry Potter. So somebody was like, hey, let's go see the first one. And I was just amazed with all the details in it. So that's what really hooked me is the details in the CGI and like the flying books and that. I thought it was just beautiful.
That's one of the things that you need kind of like with any good series. I mean, I know what I was going to say, where you're saying that which one's like the closest to the books, or, sometimes, they cut a lot of things out. Sometimes that's actually a good thing because, I mean, I'm a big Lord of the Rings and like the Hobbit fan. The Hobbit's actually my favorite book. The Lord of the Rings' books was a lot more was a more difficult read for me, but the Hobbit is 3 movies. They get so much of what was in the book there. They added some stuff and I'm just like, but also it was like, okay, guys, you could have edited out quite a bit of this, and I still would have enjoyed this probably more. Sometimes it can get long-winded, but it's the detail in the universe.
Yes.
Same thing. Star Wars is like that. Lord of the Rings universe is like that. Tolkien's universe,
See, my least favorite parts of those, like Lord of the Rings, my favorite Lord of the Rings movie is The Fellowship of the Ring. I know it's the least action-worthy, but it pulls so much of you into the whole world that I don't want it to end. So I know Return of the King is fantastic as a movie. I mean, it is just
that's good,
fantastic. But it's not my favorite because it has a conclusion.
It ends.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just so much greatness and beauty in the whole aspect of that world, and also the Harry Potter magical world. And I think that's my appreciation with this new movie so much, and how I liked it so much, is that it
brings you in.
It brings you in, but it immerses you in something totally fresh and new that you've never seen before.
I think that you speak high volumes with that. You're immersed in it. You're in a completely different world, and you are very, very accepting. Like, oh, that's real. That can really happen. And the wands.
It was great. Is well, before we go into it. Okay, spoilers, by the way, everybody, spoilers, red alert, ding, 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 get the puck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's believable, and it's in New York City,
so we're going right into the Fantastic Beasts. Okay.
Well.
Yeah. I mean,
well, he just went there with going into a new world.
Well, I'm just
talking about the Wizarding world.
I'm just saying the whole Wizarding world, and this is a spoiler thing, but the way that they presented it regarding magic used on an adult level, because in Harry Potter you introduced it being in Hogwarts.
They're learning it.
They're learning it, like that they can't do it.
Making a light.
That they can't do it when they're not at Hogwarts. So this is like heavy, heavy, heavy adult stuff.
Yes.
So I'm not spoiling anything there, but I mean, it's just, to me it was just amazing.
Let's get right into it. I mean, I think my favorite Harry Potter flick, and not for story's sake, but just out of enjoyment, pure enjoyment, was probably the first, because it was all brand new. I really didn't know what I was getting into. I saw the commercials, but and I hadn't read the book, so I didn't have any preconceived notions. So just kind of went and was like,
you're just kind of like,
gosh,
everything is just amazement. It's not like, oh yeah, look what that is, or I know exactly what now you have like a visual reference. You had no visual reference. It was just given to you, and it was just like, so you can look at it almost like a kid walking into a toy store. How like back in the day, like around Christmas, coming up on Christmas time, before you know it, they used to have the storefronts, where they would have those elaborate displays. So it was like coming up on that for the first time. It's you get that your first eyes on like experience.
Oh, that toy exists. That exists.
Yeah.
That
right.
type of thing.
Like, oh, you can put these things together to look like this.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and rescind what I said. I like every single Harry Potter movie the same. I think Order of the Phoenix may be the least favorite, but I mean, Chamber of Secrets is fantastic. Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire is great.
What's the one before the Deathly Hallows?
Half-Blood Prince, which is fantastic. It's great as well because you get to know a lot more about Snape, and then the bombshell they drop in the Deathly Hallows. So
yes. So all right, we're gonna
Always.
spoilers if y'all. We just got to
If
go.
you haven't seen the Harry Potter flicks, at this point, like
we're not judging you. We are definitely
not judging,
talking
but
about Star Wars.
if we spoil no, actually, I'm not even going to apologize for that. It's been a minute.
So
Yeah.
all right, well,
for everybody who doesn't like Harry Potter, fasten your seatbelts and buckle up because Rogue One's coming out next month, and
we're going to be talking about that.
We're gonna geek out so hard on that one. So
I'm geeking so hard already.
yeah,
I know, right? I'm gonna watch the movie and then the next day bring a notebook and watch it again.
yeah.
Taking notes.
I've already have that day off too.
Yeah.
The next day.
Okay.
I have the day of and the day after.
Right, so we're all going together then, right?
Yeah.
That's what's happening here.
Exactly. We're going to go to the 10 a.m. show. We're going to go eat lunch, and then we're going to go back to the 2 o'clock show.
Sounds good to me, guys. Nothing like seeing a Star Wars movie early in the morning too. Just kind of gets you pumped for the day. So, okay, so let's go with. I'm going to go with Matt first.
Go ahead.
How did you like the movie, and how did you feel about it? It's separate from the Harry Potter world.
Take place is 70 years prior to Harry Potter.
In the 20s.
Yes, it does.
In the 20s.
And the thing that I thought it was fantastic.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. I mean, I thought it was fantastic. There was a couple of things about just the way, I'm kind of very critical on the way like movies are shot, but some of it was like just the movement of the camera on some of it, like especially in the very beginning. It was just so fast. It was like it's almost a little nauseating at there for a moment. But other than that, I think that everything was well executed. It kind of was those things. It was like laying your eyes on something for the first time. And they did it in a very interesting way. And the whole entire the story, I thought the story was pretty fantastic. And kind of like where it went with, like the New Salem movement and everything like that. It was an interesting take, because of how much earlier it was. Kind of like the culture that went along,
and plus that it was in America and not in the UK. I mean,
yeah. Now, what I will say is that
switch.
What no mages or non mages, like you couldn't think of something more.
Should have just kept it Muggles.
Yeah, exactly.
Should have just kept it Muggles. That's how I felt about it. But I get it. I mean, it's a different place. It's a whole different world of.
Couldn't you just take the U's out of the words, like like color, COLOUR, like just Americanize the words a little bit? It was like no mage. I was like, did they really just say no mage?
Yes.
Like really?
Yeah.
Other than that, that was the only thing I had an issue with, actually.
So you really.
I didn't really have
so you
no
left
issue.
it going, wow, what a great movie. I'd love to see it again.
No, I want to see it in theaters again. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd love to see it on even if possible bigger screen if they do an IMAX release locally.
This is the tip.
It's an IMAX.
There is an IMAX release locally. Okay.
Well, this is also the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be a total of 5 movies regarding this storyline.
Yes.
Which,
right.
We're not going to really deep dive into that, but.
Right, yeah. There's definitely things that, even though I understand, we kind of throw slight spoilers in there, there's some things that you just can't spoil for somebody because that's just you horrible human being.
Yeah, don't ruin the next movie that's going to come out for me, guys.
Well, I mean, if you've seen the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 movies, then you kind of know the foundation of where they're going with this regarding the character that they introduced at the end of the movie. So
Yes.
I mean, that was the thing that I took most out of everything. I'm going to not use the word fantastic again, try to not to use it on the rest of this podcast.
Well, that is a fantastic goal you have there.
Thanks, buddy.
No problem.
The way that they presented it is 70 years prior, has nothing to do with Hogwarts. It's in New York City, no mages. But just to take you out and drop you right back into the universe. It was the same feeling that I got when I watched Episode 7 of Star Wars, of how we haven't been in that world and so long, and it was something brand new, and yet within the first minute, you're just totally consumed. And
you're already consumed. And what was interesting is even though it takes place so much earlier, and it's clearly like a different time, you can tell it's the same world. There's not like any sort of. It was done in a way that you can tell there's like it's seamless, absolutely seamless.
Yes, and you did feel like you were in that era too. They really captured that well.
Right.
You know, the
almost
20s.
as if you could probably take once all the movies are out, you can watch this before the Harry Potter, and it will feel like almost like okay, there's been several years that have passed, and here we are.
Like a good, like a good movie series of a Lord of the Rings prequel.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I didn't like the Hobbit series.
Yeah, the Hobbit series wasn't nearly as good as I thought it would be.
I like the first Hobbit. The first Hobbit was good.
Yes, it was.
I didn't need the second and the third.
I didn't need any of them. I thought the animation in those were horrible. But let's bring this back a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some people hate me right now.
Yes, please, Derek.
Here's my take on it. And overall, I thought it was a good movie. I did like it. I would definitely see it again because maybe I missed some things. My issue was more or less I felt like it was a very slow beginning. It took a lot of time to get the ball rolling. It took a lot of time for me to understand where the plot really was. Have you read the books? Did you guys already read the book?
There isn't a book yet.
There isn't a book. You have to actually read and watch Deathly Hallows 1 and 2 to get the foundation of who these characters are. Newt Scamander was not in Deathly Hallows whatsoever, but Grindelwald did.
Yeah, go ahead. Spoilers.
Well, no, Grindelwald is referred to in the first like 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
you know,
and plus it was mentioned in the Deathly Hallows because that's if you watch Deathly Hallows.
What is his role? Because I didn't know his role. Because people around me were like, "Oh my god, it's Grindelwald!"
And we will connect the dots for you here. The Deathly Hallows, in the last book, it was part of 3, and it's what he actually Graves, the guy that was in the movie, played by Colin Farrell. He gave that one kid the necklace that had the Deathly Hallows symbol on it, and it was the Elder Wand, and that's the thing that. I was kind of keying on, and I couldn't really tell in the movie what it was. But in the Deathly Hallows Harry Potter movie, at the end of the first one, part 1, Dumbledore's body, his grave, Voldemort's there, and he takes the Elder Wand. Well, Dumbledore is the most powerful wand ever made, and Dumbledore beat Grindelwald to take it years and years ago. So that's part of the Deathly Hallows. So
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so
that's why everybody's freaking out around me.
Yeah, so now we know the foundation of this is, and that's why everything kind of took slow to start.
Yeah. Well, it's not about, like I said, I like the movie. I think it was more of the beginning, like you said, it was a little shaky. I get frustrated when I'm watching any type of fight scenes, and I saw this throughout the whole movie, where you can't understand the choreography of the fight scene because you see a fist or you see a flash or you see a movement. And you're like, how'd they end up there? How did that person get to that position to get that next punch in? I couldn't follow the choreography because it was so close and up and right in it. I had the same issue with the first Transformers movie. All you just saw was moving metal. You didn't see a full fist punch from. You didn't see two people fighting. You couldn't see the whole scene. You saw a close-up of images or almost like you were reading a comic book.
Well, that really comes from just getting into like cinematography.
Yes,
that's something that kind of like got from. Well, it's something that's been a more modern thing, where like with war movies, because we have like with war movies, like they were going from like these big like epic like grand scale like shots, for years is the way that they shot all of those, and then. More modern flicks, it's all a lot closer. It's like shaky cam. It's like,
Saving Private Ryan did that.
Saving Private Ryan is where it kind of started. And ever since then, it's kind of transferred into a lot of action movies. And in some things it works.
Yes, but like the new Star Wars movie, it was pulled back and it let you see things. It let you see what was going on.
Well, I think that was also a question of, going back to an original shooting, like, because they were trying to recreate. I mean, they even went back to using, a lot of it was shot with film, to kind of get that feel, as well. So I get that. That's probably also, without straying off, why you don't like The Hobbit CGI. It's because it's the same thing. But
nope, the CGI in The Hobbit was just bad.
There's a reason why the CGI there. It's actually the CGI was better than it was in the Lord of the Rings films.
I just
that gets into frames per second and things like that. But I'll could wax intellectual on this for a long time. But
and let's not
get on that. But the thing is like I didn't have any problem with tracking, but what was nauseating for me was like things like the newspapers and that's where like Grindelwald, like I said, it was
in the beginning when they're going. Yeah.
That just made me sick just watching it because we also where we had some pretty close.
Oh, I was in crippled seating, so I was like right there.
Yeah, that's kind of we're on that aisle. Yeah. Kind of. But
so there's that.
So you didn't like the movement?
I didn't like that.
Them separating and apparating, like coming in and out.
No, and I thought there was inconsistency with that, especially with chase scenes. Like people, you can just do it every time. I don't understand how anybody would ever get hit if you're a wizard. Oh, just morph out of the way.
Well, a lot of times they did morph out of the way.
Yeah, but a lot of times they did.
It's because they're wizards, Derek.
So that
you're a wizard,
so that
Harry.
Was, right?
You're a wizard, Harry.
So that kind of the cinematography of the fight scenes. I guess I did get the nauseous part in the beginning, but just throughout the fight scenes, I really just didn't care about the cinematography in that, and that's a complaint for a lot of movies that I have.
Okay.
I didn't really know what the purpose was for him. The main character, who is a phenomenal Redmayne or whatever his name is, the guy who played the main character.
Yeah, is it Eric Redmayne?
Something like that. Yeah, phenomenal actor. He was also in that Stephen Hawking flick, also in The Danish Girl.
Oh yeah, he wasn't he?
Yeah. So really wonderful, wonderful actor. So I was happy with that. His acting skills. The woman who played the one who arrested him in the beginning, or attempted to. I thought she was good. I thought her sister was beautiful. I loved the way the sister played the role. I thought the acting for the woman who arrested him, I didn't think that was very good. And who's the main protagonist? What's it say? Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
Horrible acting. I was completely...
Really?
Yeah. I felt a couple lines came in real flat for me and felt scripted. I just didn't really care for his acting in it at all. So I was disappointed with that. And I think they should have just gone with somebody brand new. I don't think they should have gone with a heavy hitter there.
Well, you know what?
You already had your heavy hitter with Eric Redmayne or whatever his name is.
Well, the thing I thought about that was a lot of the things where I felt like, quote unquote, his lines fell short. It was more that it wasn't that his lines fell short as much as that was the intended delivery, because a lot of it was like skewed information or lies and things like that without getting into too much information. I don't think it was supposed to be taken. It was manipulation, and things like that. So I don't really think that it was his delivery. I think he did it the way it had to be done, for what he was doing. Because you have to think, if he did it any more subtle, you wouldn't get that there was something up.
I felt it to be a little flat.
Okay.
I felt it to be a little flat. The what else? There were some other things that bothered me. They'll come to me, but like I said, overall, so the focus is there's this massive thing going through the city, and they need to catch it, and then I guess a bunch of animals escape from the briefcase. You don't know how that happened. You're never really told. All of a sudden they escape. So I found it odd that you never really are shown, or you never really see them get out of the case. You just know that some of them escaped, and you don't. That's really not.
Well, there's the fact that the case was open long enough.
Well, yeah, I get that, but it's not really shown that it's out there. So all of a sudden, these beasts are out there. I felt the scene where they went into the briefcase was beautiful, but I felt it was kind of forced to kind of go, look at all these little creatures that we've invented, and we want to show them to you all in like a little zoo episode. And they didn't give you time to really see a lot of the creatures. A lot of it was like, look at this, and then it goes away. Look at this, and it goes away. So you didn't really get to relish in these creatures. There are a few of them that they really pointed out to you, but it was like, oh, we got to get the. But then you'd have those off scenes where like there's this evil thing that's going across New York City right now. But hold on, we got to go to the zoo real quick and get this guy over here.
Well,
and
I think a lot of it was
like, where's the priority? And I felt like the storyline really kind of bounced a lot. Felt there were a lot of characters put in there for such a short period of time that they wanted to put in there because apparently they've got to be important at some point.
Yeah, it's a setup flick. It's like 5 films. It's like A New Hope was like that. You know, if you really think about it.
There were less characters involved, though. I mean, I get it. I get what they're trying to do. I felt a little bit of it was, or a lot of it was just kind of forced. And if you got 5 movies coming out, you don't need to be doing that much setup. You can introduce it as they're coming through. You know, say, hey, this is this person, and just have them kind of go by rather than have them do a massive speaking part or like the president. You know, and things like, and then one of those things where she came with information and they just shut her off. And then later in the movie, she says, he's got beasts and some of them escaped. And they're like, why didn't you tell us? It's like, I can't stand shit like that. Just, if she had the information, you guys cut her off and now you're mad at her. I think that's bad writing. It's easy when it can be explained in one sentence. I find that frustrating. And that's movies in general for me.
Yeah, but that's also hindsight. Hindsight's
all hindsight, but it's
I felt that way during the movie. I was like,
yeah, but also you have to think from a story standpoint. If you actually sat there and like, you know, it was delivered all up front, then guess what? The movie
you deliver it all up front, and then you have the setup, and then you have the fun.
There would be no setup or fun if they told them everything up front.
Yeah, but you know what happens when you deliver? Okay, I'll give you a perfect example of what happens when you set up everything up front.
Something as simple as, this is who this is. He has a briefcase full of creatures. Some of them got out. They're in the city. And the same stuff is still going to happen because he's still going to have to get the big bad black ghost thing, and then he's still going to have to get the other creatures. All the same stuff is going to happen.
The whole entire creatures and the big bad ghost thing, I think it was just more that he was kind of, you know, thrown into the situation. It's not like he was trying to, you know, that's not what his intention was, you know, as well. However, you know, just because while you're watching it, previous experience with somebody else like that, you know, which is the reason why he felt obligated to try and help somebody because it was a memory of somebody else. So I kind of disagree with that. But also, you know, if you take all the story and throw it up front and then just go all to the fun, what you have is the Matrix trilogy. There was one good movie, and then 2 and 3 sucked.
No, I mean, what I mean is have it. Basically, what I meant was, you know, get more to the plot of the story. Get to Colin Farrell and that kid's relationship. Expound on that. You know, that was, you had short 30 to 60-second scenes of him saying, get me this information, I love you, and give him a hug, and then it's gone to something else. Like, expound on that. Take the time to develop that relationship. Take the time to develop the relationships between the characters. I think you could have utilized the time a little bit better because it just seemed like such an awkward relationship, and the daughter, the girl, who everybody thought it was, apparently.
Right.
You know, that's because that's what they tried to push on you. Because I even leaned over and I looked at Cynthia. I was like, oh, it's the girl. You know, because it just seemed obvious. But all that stuff waited to the very end to go, oh, it's him. Oh, and that's the bad guy. And it was all just kind of let go at the end. And then the whole city sees it and like, oh, we're going to fix that problem. Here, bird, go fly in the sky and explode this thing. And
a lot of times what happens is if you drift off in a film.
It's not drifting, it's developing the characters you're trying to develop.
Well, no. What I'm trying to get at is that if in a lot of times in a film, if you spend a lot of time like, let's develop these characters, and let's develop these characters, if you do it that way, it probably, and they might have even had a cut like that, you know, where it was more together. But sometimes what happens is that, you know, you'll find yourself that you're drifting. Like, I remember one of the things was, like, even the Lord of the Rings books, just going back there, like, because it's just kind of like, it's a fantasy story, that, like, in the Two Towers, if you read it, there's, like, extended periods of time where there's, like, no mention of, like, what's going on with Frodo, like, at all. There's, like, no mention of it. They're, like, completely focusing, on, like, what's going on here. It's rare for it to work for pacing. Sometimes it gets a little bit boring. I kind of like the way that they did it, in this instance.
And I understand that. However, my point is, when he went and was like, find the girl. I mean, it was literally the same scene like 4 times. Here's.
I can see
I'm
that.
gonna hug
Absolutely.
you, where you could have taken those scenes and made it more of a, I'm going to promise you this, but you need to do this for me. I'm going to promise you this, but you need to do this for me. Yeah, I just felt like you could have done more with those scenes. Yeah, I felt it. I felt a redundancy with it, and I became.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so it's like, let me see more, or you do that twice, and then take the other 2 scenes and take those 30 seconds to a minute to really let me see what the other Fantastic Beasts look like. Really, let me see what they can do, and then at the end, he's like, I have almost all of them except for the invisible one. And you're like, he's invisible, and nobody really knew about it. And they showed a clip of one that disappeared for a second, and you're like, oh, there's one, but it's not explained till, I don't know, just kind of, I felt it was a little just kind of bouncy all over the place. Where the movie was more or less about the what is the creature? I don't want to be disrespectful. Do you know the name of the?
Are you talking about the dark creature? The Obscurus?
The Obscurus, yes. It was more about, I felt like the story was about this Obscurus that's raining havoc upon the city and finding that. And so you'd be intent and be like, they got to get this. It's going to come back. But then it was like, oh, well, we got to go find this little creature over here, and then have this funny little thing where the creature wants to mate with the Muggle.
Right, but you had 2 different storylines that didn't converge until the end.
They never converged. The storylines never converged.
No, they did converge at the end of the movie.
No, to me there were 2 still separate storylines. And he's like, okay, got my things, I'm out of here. He happened to be a part of getting the Obscurus.
Well, the whole entire thing was, for him, and this is the way I took it when I watched it. And you watched it, so...
Yeah, and I've been talking for a while, so I'm going to let you guys kind of flow a little bit more.
Right. Well, my whole entire theory is that, like, he came and, to United States, because his whole entire thing is that he's writing a book, about Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. And
he was also returning
one of those beasts, back to Arizona, so it, can do its thing there, because that's where it's naturally from, because he has a tremendous respect for them. Where a lot of people don't believe in them, and a lot of them were being killed off. He touches upon that. So there was kind of a couple things. He felt that he had to protect them. That's why he was trying to get them in. Not only just as because you don't want them to, kind of be exposed. He's also a visitor here in this country, and he didn't want them to be exposed. He also didn't want them to be hurt because he believes they're misunderstood. So that, and also because he came across... in his time, because, and that's when they go into the suitcase, he'd come across an Obscurus before.
See, I think you could do the first movie about coming to America and looking for the beasts and trying to wrangle them all up, and then at the end of that, reveal the Obscura, and then make that a second.
Well,
I think they're 2 separate movies that could have totally been separate movies.
Well, here's the thing, and why I said that they finally interact at the very end, is that we have... one of the little creatures got out, and that was it, and that's what she saw, was one. So she took him, arrested him for whatever, charge they were going to do, and then the non-badge guy, they changed.
Which I think was the best part of the movie.
And the thing about it is, though, what you mentioned on it earlier, they didn't know everything escaped when she first took him in there.
Yeah, but when somebody see that big old giant thing escaping... They're in the middle of a bank.
Well,
no, you're off on that.
Yeah, that was a very small thing.
The briefcase was swapped. They didn't know until after.
So they would have
happened outside the bank.
They were outside the bank.
Okay, so he opened the thing
at home.
At home. So how is that thing going to get?
Well, it's small. It's it takes the shape of whatever container it's.
That was the blue thing.
Yeah,
That was the big thing. That was the biggest thing.
No,
was what?
Yeah, but then you had the thing that was at the at the
hey, you know,
at the zoo.
it's magic.
I know it just didn't work for me, man.
It's magic.
Oh man.
I hate the fact I really want to love the movie more. Than I did.
Okay, I'm gonna really blow your mind because, like, you know, if you're gonna like talk about plot holes here, Star Wars.
No, we're not going there.
No, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go with Star Wars. We're gonna go to Death Star. Okay, so Luke Skywalker, Luke Skywalker fires 2 torpedoes that make a sudden right-hand turn and goes straight down to the core of the Death Star and blow it up. So they rebuild it to make it a bigger, better Death Star. They made it Millennium Falcon-sized portholes.
That's not a plot hole.
That is a plot hole.
No.
The second Death Star wasn't finished.
Yes.
It was mostly finished. That was a finished part of it. Just putting that out there.
I think
Flew in and out.
with all due respect, I think that argument is, it does not fit.
But like I mentioned, we'll go back to the Fantastic Beasts. Okay, excuse Matt for his Star Wars quote.
That's not a plot hole. That's just giving an opportunity for it to
It's a plot hole.
for
Makes no sense.
yeah, all right.
It's not a plot hole.
Okay.
A plot hole is something.
But what I was saying is, like, you can
a plot hole is the girl, the middle daughter on the old TV show Family Matters, who goes upstairs and she never comes back on the show. That's a plot hole. Like, where did she go?
Oh, I forgot about that. That's a plot hole. Yeah, that is a plot hole.
Nice
But
poll,
the
man.
sizes of the ports on the Death Star are not a plot hole. That's a design issue.
Yeah,
It's a design issue.
That's an engineering problem.
It's an engineering problem.
Call IT.
Yeah.
No, but I was saying is, like, you could accept that. Is more I was getting that you accepted that and didn't, like, question that.
Well, no, like,
then
like you said, that's a different. That's like an engineering thing. This is okay. This big giant beast escaped out of this
But
suitcase.
remember, he was being questioned when it escaped in the Nomad's apartment. It had nothing to do. They didn't know he was.
Yeah, but how did it come
They
out of the
came
case
back.
in the apartment and then get out of the apartment?
well,
Did
did
you
you
not
hear
know
there was
that
a
there was
huge
a
hole
huge
in the
hole?
side of the wall that he
and
fixed?
he put it back together. Did you miss that entire thing?
As she was walking up the stairs, he was, like, repairing the whole entire place.
Of how
Yeah, but I think that was caused by something else. I can't remember though, but I don't think it was caused by
No.
that.
I think you need to watch the movie again, sir.
Yeah, because because where it goes from him being, like, attacked by that thing, and then they're, like, coming back, and, you know, like, the place is basically destroyed. There's a huge hole. It doesn't explain how that happened. You just kind of see that there's
something big that got out of this.
big something that got out.
All right, I'll let you guys have that.
And by the time, remember, she didn't tell them that his beast got out until she went when they were inside after they got the big rhinoceros looking thing back in the thing. In the suitcase, that's when she took it and told the president, and she opened it up, and he went out in front of everybody.
Yeah, because he didn't even realize that, because they got into the suitcase underneath that bridge,
Right.
Basically, because they were going to camp out and not go back to her.
I have another
You
question. How did the suitcase get anywhere if you didn't carry it? Like, they went into the suitcase in the apartment. How did it end up at the other place? Does it just disappear and appear where they want to go? Is that how that works?
No. They got out and they left with the case to go get the, like, you know, to get.
Oh, they
that.
snuck out.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
snuck out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, were you paying attention? Oh, so just messing with you. So,
So, well,
is it? Okay, right on.
So I do plan on watching it again. I didn't feel sucked into it. I felt the ending was an easy fix. You know, I didn't feel it, man.
Sometimes people just don't feel it. You know, like The Walking Dead. Like, everybody's obsessed with The Walking Dead. I never got sucked into it.
Yeah.
So for me, it just didn't do anything for me.
But I usually like all that pretty stuff, and you know, like the wizard and the wands. I love all of it.
It's okay. I don't expect a lot of our listeners to listen to this because Harry Potter may be a thing that throws them off.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah, or they haven't seen the movie yet, and spoilers, and we're a bunch of assholes.
Exactly.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
So I think we gotta wrap this up. It's getting kind of late now. Do you have anything you want to add to it, or do you recommend this movie for people?
I recommend this movie for everybody who loves anything to do with Harry Potter, because I know that we're taking a step back in years, but it puts you directly back into the magical
We
world.
go back into the wizarding world.
Yeah, and I think if you have a good foundation of everything that happened within all the books, the history of where things came from, then all you have to do is have a big smile on your face because it's going to be another great adventure.
Yeah, and I never read the books, and I hadn't seen the movies in quite some time, so
Yeah.
yeah, that might have something to do with it also. But you?
I would recommend it. You know, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. It was one of those things that I think it's also a good starting point. It might even, if you see it, it might even actually trigger you to go watch the Harry Potter movies if you or read the books. I think so, because there's this whole entire world, and if you don't really fully understand it, you know, there's this other whole huge series that's already completed, and you could buy in, you know, in a box set, you know, and kind of go back and check it out, and it might actually help you explain some things, you know, as well.
There's a whole lot of deeper meaning to a lot of things that were said in that movie too.
Yeah.
Regarding, you know, creatures are misunderstood. We have a lot to learn from these creatures.
Yeah, world. Yeah, big
Yeah.
world problems.
Yeah, big world problems.
Yeah, I get that. You know that.
There was a
It's kind of like the movie Happy Feet. You know, the whole that took a very political turn and 3/4 of the way through it. I stood up and I was like, "Really, really?"
Oh yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was extreme.
That was
political turn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Avatar.
But they already made that movie. It was called Pocahontas. Oh damn!
Or the DAPL.
Bad form, bro.
Too soon. Too soon.
All right, guys.
I hope everybody is full from Thanksgiving.
Yes. Hope you enjoyed your meal. Any last words, Matt?
No.
Any last words, Grizz?
Hey, #be love and happy holidays because it is time.
Definitely. Hope you all
December's right around the corner.
Hope you all had a great Black Friday. Got everything that you need for.
I hope none of you got trampled out there. It's crazy, man.
And if you did, you deserve it.
Wow.
Stayed
Hey,
home.
man, sometimes you just need a big screen TV. Leave people alone, all
That
right?
you can totally buy on the internet at the same exact
So
time.
what would happen if you had your car completely full and you hit a speed bump?
It'd be a jump.
Thank you for supporting Walking in My Wheels. You can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you have something to say, email us at walkinginmywheels@gmail.com. Keep being awesome people and #be love.